Okay, so I'm in a bathroom and I'm going to run through what I look for in the plumbing and some basics around the plumbing today. So I've got the sink filling up and I'm using cold water at this point just for this test. I want to get this full for a couple reasons. One, I want to flush a full sink to test the plumbing. I also need to fill it to test. This sink has an overflow and I want to see if that overflow is functioning properly. While the sink is running and I'm looking for leaks, I can turn the hot water on for a second just to say, you know, I don't see any leaks there. These are firm. I'll turn the cold back on. No issues there. This is all solid. While that's running though, I'm going to come over to turn the tub on and check the water flow. Water flow at the sink looks good. Water flow here looks good. I'm going to turn that on, the shower, and throw the plug. The shower has good pressure while the sink is on. Now let's flush the toilet. I'm at the top floor, so this is where the water is probably the furthest from the tank. And even at flushing the toilet, I've still got good pressure, okay? So that's a good sign. Over at the toilet, I shake it with my legs. Is it firm to the ground? Are the bolts tight? I look at the valve. Is there any leakage here? That looks good. That's a good valve. I don't see any. I can test. This is tile, so it's a little bit hard to see if that ground is. But it doesn't shake. This looks solid. I don't see any leaks. I would take the top off. I'm not today because while I've got the video going, but I'd take the top off too and see how it fills. Back over here to the sink, it is above, the water is above the line. I'm going to shut that off. I'm going to shut this off. And I'm going to see, so see the water is not draining. If it is, it's slightly draining, but something's in there. It's clogged, maybe rust, maybe hair, who knows. But it's designed actually as an overflow protection, so I'm going to call that out. That should be cleared. It's not a huge deal, but I got to call it out. Back to the tub. I'm looking at the surround. I see a little bit down here. There's some caulking and some mold. It should be recocked. Wet feet, people getting in and out. You're going to get water down in there. There's a little bit more over here. So that just needs to be recocked. Again, very minor. It's maintenance. I look at the surround, which looks good. This is caulked up here. That looks good. So I don't really see any issues there. I'm going to throw the drain and make sure it drains properly. And it looks like it is. So that's good. Back over to the sink. I'm going to pull this open. Excuse me. And while the sink is draining, I'm going to check for leaks. Flush the drain, and we're going to look for leaks. And while that thing is leaking, I'm going to put that over there, I guess. I'm going to touch it, pull it, squeeze it. I don't feel any leaks. It's all firm. You'd be surprised. Some of the old metal ones, you can break them right in your hand. This is an old drum style trap. Don't really use them anymore, but they're still functional. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not a defect. They just don't, they use P-traps nowadays. You should have a shutoff at both the hot and the cold to your faucet so that if there was a leak or you wanted to change out your faucet, you can. There is. Those are good. I see something back there, but I'm going to check that. That kind of looks like splatter. It could be mold, but I don't think it is. But I'll check it and I'd call it out if it is. I do not see any water leaks down here. This looks all pretty good. So I've checked that. And then the last thing I would do is check the hot water. So I'm going to turn the hot water on. I'm going to pull out my thermometer and I'm going to test it. And I'm going to get a reading up here. And it's given me 110, 112, 113, 114, 60, 117, 120, 120, which is good. You don't really want to get above 120 because you could have a scald issue, but there's chances are that's exactly the temperature that the boiler is set to. Okay, so that's what I test for. At this point, I'm calling out just the sink drain and some minor caulking down at the base. But otherwise, this is a good bathroom.